welcome to Distilling Greatness. This is our episode. I'm here with my partner and friend, Jeff Arnett, in the beautiful, peaceful side of Smokies, home of Company Distilling. How's it going, Jeff?
It's going great. It's good to be here.
Good. Glad to have you. We're going to flip things up a little bit. We have an amazing guest with us that's been patient with us. We're battling torrential downpours.
Of gnats.
Swarm of gnats and other Stephen King animals.
Occasional mosquito.
But welcome Beth Haynes to the podcast. And
Hey, God, this is great. We're in a beautiful outdoor setting. Hopefully we'll survive a few rain showers. Lightning strike. I'm
Tell
not
the truth,
sure.
the lightning strikes.
Yeah, lightning strikes, plural, maybe. Gnats, swarming of gnats. No, it's great to be here. I'm excited to catch up with both of you. I think it's interesting how our stories have intertwined over the years. So it's good to be here, especially as you guys are celebrating some big years, 1 year anniversary, 2 years as a company. So it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it a ton. So we are going to do, like I said, do a little bit different. Beth's going to interview us, and then we may have a surprise for Beth also throughout the
okay.
But also,
no, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah. We'll
surprise.
Little curveball in there, but yeah, we'll turn the mic over to the professional for sure.
Well, and I was just talking about kind of the history of the three of us. Kris, Tatum, we have been friends for many, many years. I had the pleasure of getting to know you through my husband. You all have known each other for a long time. And then Jeff, I actually interviewed you 15 years ago. I was at Channel 10 at the time, and you were with Jack Daniels.
I was.
And here we are.
In a new title, big job. Yep. I still remember meeting you at the Cave Spring that day.
It was interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I remember talking with Kris as this was evolving, especially just in the conversation phase. So it's great to see it come to fruition. And there's so many successes to celebrate here with Company. But let's talk about kind of the last 2 years. From outside looking in, it looks like immediate success. But this has been a lot of hard work. Let's talk about that and kind of what had to happen for us to be here today.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Kris.
No, I'm going to defer to you. I love hearing this.
Awesome. I would just tell you that, I guess to the public, I'm kind of the most consumer-facing person, but Kris has had some very strong and large shoulders for this venture for the last 2 years, and I'm certainly appreciative of having a partner who had a skill set that was so different than mine and complementary to mine. But Kris and I basically got to know one another through the Tennessee Distillers Guild, and he was the president, I was the vice president. At the time I met him, I was not really considering leaving Jack Daniels at that moment. But as I got more and more, at least where I was being honest with myself, that there were things that I wanted to do in my life that I was not going to be able to do if I stayed. Mm-hmm. And, did I have the guts to leave? Kris was like, I think you were the second person I called because I first went to a lawyer.
I forgot that. That's right.
I first called a lawyer and I said, I'm thinking I might want to do this. I don't want to get myself in trouble. So can you give me some advice on this? And he said, what I would recommend you do is reach out to Kris about it. And the more we talked, the more I realized this would be such a strong partnership because of the friendship that we had, because of all the success that we had working together from two different distilleries at the time. And I just knew that if there was a marriage of our skills coming together to a new distillery, that it was going to be a success. So, but yeah, clearly, we did this sort of in a pandemic. So
not the best
there were
time.
things, there were things that I thought were so simple, to get done. The things that I thought were going to be hard about us getting started and things that I thought would be more difficult. And some of the things that I thought would be the most difficult weren't. Some of the things I thought would be the easiest were the hardest. I would have thought that we would have been struggling to have liquid ready, to go to market and all that. I thought we would be kind of waiting for that piece of it. But ultimately, we literally had whiskey ready to go, bourbon ready to go without bottles or labels or all these other things that you just think are the simple part of the process for us. So, so it's been a huge learning process for me personally because there were things, even though Jack Daniels was a huge company, you had a lot of role players there and I had a role that I played, but I didn't get involved in a lot of what I call some of the general things that are required just to own and operate, run a distillery and build a brand for that matter. But it's kind of been fun to do that. We're a much smaller scale, but there's been a lot of reward in being a part of that process and watching it.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest success so far?
For us, I think for for us, the big success has been that we brought a team together, and like Jeff said, we had challenges that we didn't expect to have, nor did I would have even imagined some of the stuff. So the fact that we brought our team together, and we have brought very diverse people together, and whether it's business background, personalities, age differences. I mean, we run this spectrum of several decades, and we have a lot of experience overall. So the fact that we've been able to bring that together during a pandemic, that's been the biggest success for me. And then we have our team together, and everybody's still pushing for the same thing. And that means a lot to me. And I know Jeff and I talk about it a lot, and it's a lot the way, Jeff and I, led the guild together is putting together the team, speaking with one voice, and putting goals out there that are attainable. And when we, celebrate the success, that's good. So I think the team's
Was
big.
there a moment for the two of you that you realized, okay, this is going to work. We can make this work? Was there an aha moment, a conversation the two of you had?
I think to me, that's kind of one of those things that you almost have to decide that almost every day, right?
It's got to work.
Because I feel like we're not where we want to be yet. But at the same time, I look back and say, wow, have we accomplished so much? It's been crazy what we've been able to do. Because I am just the type to continually look forward and say, what's the next challenge? What's the next thing we need to conquer? What's the next hill that we have to take in this quest to get to the mountaintop? But I look back and I say, there were times it was frustrating because we weren't moving as fast as we wanted to, but look at what we've been able to do. I mean, it has been a tremendous amount. We're winning awards. People love the liquid. We've got fantastic facilities, great employees. So, I feel like this 1 year mark here for Townsend clearly was an opportunity to just say, hey guys, let's take a bow. Let's take a break. Let's, we haven't really stopped to pat one another on the back, but it's a time that, let's take a bow and have a moment here and celebrate all that we've been able to do.
I mean, it's pretty impressive if you think about the product line, the portfolio, the footprint alone. Talk a little more about that, what you've been able to accomplish in those 2 years. You've got a variety of products, and it's in how many states at this point?
We're in 3 with direct distributorship, but through Sailbox you can go to another 17 states. So ultimately about 20 states where you can order and have it delivered to your home or go to a store and pick it up. By the end of this year, it should be closer to 9 direct distribution states. So we're already starting to kind of pick and choose the right markets for us. We're still a new company, and some states are more friendly to new brands than others. So you just want to be smart in how you go about that. So, control states, where the state's a buyer can be a little bit more difficult for a new brand because the state kind of controls what's on the shelves there. So you almost need to have success in neighboring states so that the state will want to carry you. So, success breeds success when it comes to stuff like that. So just trying to find the right time to open up certain markets. But we're excited. By this time next year, we'll be ready to turn another corner where we'll have the enough bourbon and supply a 4 grain that has been our new make, what we designed from the get-go, what we have been working towards, where we could literally quadruple distribution. So we're already beginning the ramp up now to say which states are on the horizon. Let's go ahead and start making contact with them now. Let's get them bottles so that they're excited about it. When the time comes, we can pull the trigger.
We were talking earlier, Kris, you and I grew up tubing here behind Company Distilling, and it's really remarkable. The company has really embraced the heritage of Townsend, but that's the storyline throughout the company. It's really holding true to history and tradition, and you've woven that into your story, and that story seems to be resonating.
Oh, I think it has, absolutely, because, with the visitors that come to the East Tennessee area, and specifically even on the peaceful side where we're at, they're a diverse group anyway. But the one thing we said at the very beginning is that we have this diverse group of people visiting, and we're going to make sure that we all have this expertise in the area, in the industry. We're not going to be afraid of an educated consumer. And so I think that's actually opened the door for a lot of people, and I mean educated, whether you're just a sipper or whether you're going to sit there and go through the grain bill and be able to identify the barrel or whatever that was put in. It doesn't matter. We've opened the doors to a lot of people. And that's important, not just from a revenue model, but from building the brand and building what we envisioned, which was something where we do come in, gather around and talk and sit. We were inside earlier and you had people from Charlotte, North Carolina in here that, say, man, we spend a lot of time other places, but this is going to be our go-to place now on this side of the mountains. So it has, by embracing what's around us from a natural, the natural elements here, those are assets that you can't reproduce anywhere else. And so we're just going to continue to do that.
Especially with the finishings that you've used when crafting and distilling the bourbon.
Absolutely. It's not like we're the first distillery to come to East Tennessee, but if you look at sort of what was the formula of distilleries opening here, it was largely, high traffic areas. It was, celebrating Appalachia, moonshine, mason jars, with flavors in it or things of that nature. But, coming from Jack Daniel's, my thought is Tennessee whiskey is famous all over the world, but largely that reputation has been held in Middle Tennessee, but there's no reason why that couldn't be extended to East Tennessee. So we've kind of envisioned something a little bit different for ourselves. When we talked to the people of Townsend that we were going to be putting a distillery here, there were people who had concerns about that and how it might change the nature of Townsend because they wanted to stay peaceful. They wanted to stay this beautiful, kind of unspoiled place that it is. And we're like, well, that's our vision too. We're not planning on a shot fest here, but we would like to be able to do educational tastings. Because we don't fear an educated consumer. We want them to know about the products and how they're made and have an appreciation for them. So our tastings are really about you making an informed purchase. If you're going to buy something off the bottle, we want you to be able to have the chance to try it beforehand and know that you're picking the bottle that would be your favorite at the same time. So, our whole philosophy behind that is not, about, how many can you knock down, in 30-minute stop by here. We're wanting people to sit down, talk to us, get to know us, learn about the product, how a Tennessee whiskey is different than a bourbon, is different than a rye, how woods can affect those and create flavors. It's all natural. Tennessee's biodiversity. Let's celebrate Mother Nature and all that it provides in the state of Tennessee. This is not the best place in the world if you have allergies.
No, it's not.
But if you want, but in the fall, but in the fall, if you want to see a show, there's no prettier place on the planet than when the leaves start to change here. And because it's not monolithic, they change at different times in different colors. And that is part of what we want to explore as a brand. It's right here at our back doorstep. Let's find natural ways to create new and exciting, ways to explore whiskey.
I think one of the surprises for you was the local draw. Yeah. I mean, you hoped that you would pull tourists off the trail, but you really have a loyal local scene here. And I know being a community partner was important to both of you.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest, because I spent a lot of time out here in those first few months that we first opened in particular. I signed a lot of bottles, shook a lot of hands. I wanted to be here because I knew people were coming out of curiosity to see us, and I didn't want them to be disappointed that I wasn't here. But I was really expecting more out-of-state tourists, people who were just coming to see the national park, to be the base. But as I would ask people coming through the door, where is home for you? Where are you coming from? It's like, well, we're from Oak Ridge, or we're from Knoxville, or we're from Seymour, or we're from Sevierville, we're from Maryville. And I'm like, I couldn't believe over half of the people coming through the door were within 30 minutes of here. So I've got a much better appreciation that Townsend has a lot of people who like to just day trip over here. And I can completely understand the allure of it, because most of the jobs I've ever had in my life, even at Jack Daniel's, as much as it was a great place to work, you kind of felt your blood pressure going up, as you were getting closer to the office, because you knew the grind and all the things you were going to face there. Driving into Townsend, it's about a 30-minute ride in for me, I actually feel my blood pressure going down. And that has not been something I've experienced in my lifetime, but I feel like it's just a different way of life here. And it's not at this point of my life, I'm not really looking to try to kill myself. I'm looking for ways to enjoy what I do, to be able to relax and just kind of take it all in. And I feel like this location kind of allows me to do a lot of those things. It's a beautiful facility. It's very welcoming. We're making friends, not just locally, but people from out of state, like we met earlier today. We have great products here. More and more we're finding that if we can just get liquid on lips, we can win. And I always say that's good. If everybody breaks open their bottles and nobody comes back to try yours again, then you got some work to do. But that's not what we see. So I feel like we've got a really nice. It's not a complicated portfolio. It's pretty easy to understand. But if you want to explore different types of whiskeys and different wood finishes, we've got 3 very thoughtfully laid out ones that I think will serve us well for years to come. And
congrats, by the way, on the Ascot Awards. This is a big deal. And I wasn't as familiar, but this is a blind tasting, which is important to note. Competition's 3 years old. Is that
I think it's 3 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 3 years old, and we've won several awards, several best double platinums. Is what they're classified as. And so Jeff's done a great job of it's not just a job, a passion for his to put this together and listen to the consumer and know what the consumer's looking for, but then put a good product out there. And we really respect that award, that competition, because it is blind. It's a blind tasting. Doesn't matter who's on the board or who's not on the board, or whether you did a sponsorship.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand how the awards work, but oftentimes they are sponsored by someone who sells ad spaces in magazines and stuff like that. So you want to believe that there's, agreements made as part of that, but you always kind of wonder, if you buy enough full page ads, and then, the next, editions of the magazine, does that kind of guarantee you an award? So what you want, for us, what I would really like is to know that I'm getting an expert panel, that they're getting an unmarked sample, other than some specs on the product. They'll know what proof it is, roughly what age, the grain bill, things of that nature. They have no idea what brand it is, so they're just going to taste and decide what gets full marks and what doesn't. And so those are the types of awards I appreciate. San Francisco World Spirits Competition is one of those that I really respect and think are legitimate. Ascot's are the other one. And that's not to say there aren't others, but those are two that are kind of top of mind to me. But there are some. The more affiliated they are with a magazine, the more leery I am, just simply because you feel like there's potentially a pay to play, or at least there's the perception of that, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, but major validation for you all with your products and just the quality, because I know that's important to you both. You've gotten the Townsend location up and running. It's well established. The Thompson Station, well established. So as you're entering this next year, I know we've actually walked what will be headquarters for Company Distilling. What's the latest with the old brick plant, and what are your plans? Will you shift your focus now to that?
Yeah, the thing is you said this earlier, and we've talked about it extensively, about community, and that's a community that we've chosen to for our future to be for the main corporate, not just corporate, but the main headquarters, like you said. We've got some things coming up. Feel pretty strongly later this year, 23, 24, that's going to contribute to that community quite a bit as far as gathering around. It's not just us. We're looking to start a rick house over there and do the conversion there, start bringing our stuff here. But I think there's some really good things, and that won't just be all about, and that's something you'll find even here. It's not just about bourbon or whiskey. We've got the beer, we've got mocktails, we've got some phenomenal mocktails and food. So we've got some things that are going to be community activities. I think that Springbrook Farm community is going to just really, they're gonna embrace it and just love it, and I think that'll be fun to.
And no one's left out. That's what I love about the experience here.
So we loved the history of that property and felt like it was worth saving, because it made the brick that built a lot of the employees' homes. So it would have been one of the first buildings in Alcoa, because it was necessary to help build the plant and housing for people as the company was building the town. I have a map of Alcoa that shows the Brickyard. It's been in that location forever. At least from the early 20s, so over 100 years. But we had several architectural development type master plans done for that property, and we envisioned it to have gathering spaces for the community as Springbrook Farm is starting to take shape. Your apartment buildings going up, the grocery store going in, restaurants coming in. You're seeing more and more that we could become a gathering place for the new Springbrook Farm community, that we would love to be that. So we hope to get some passerby tourists to stop. That's a fairly high traffic. Alcoa Highway is very heavily traveled, and we would be an eye shot of that. But at the same time, we want it to be a place that people who live in Alcoa, who call that place home, say, you got to go down there, and we love to hang out down there. So we've had a couple of people who are interested in partnering with us, and it kind of fits with one of the master plans that we had. Things that we weren't certain how we would execute it, or if we would find somebody that would operate it for us. So those things are kind of seemingly coming together for us, which is good. So it'll help us turn our focus towards just getting the brick plant where it can store barrels. We've had an architect study it. We've got well over 3,000 barrels stored at a partner right now out of state. That place will hold 10,000 barrels if we lay it out correctly. So we would be a third full if we could just move it now, and that's just going to continue to grow. So we've got, some things that we hope will break here in the next few months to kind of give us a path forward as far as whether we build new construction for the distillery or able to acquire a building that we can modify for our future home. But distillation would come after getting the storage facility buttoned up, sprinklers, lights, all the things that we would need to be able to put our product in it.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I know certainly will be on the horizon. But as you look to this next year, what's also top of mind? What do you want to get accomplished?
Oh my goodness, that's a big question. I think continuing to grow our team and to become more involved with the community than we already are. I think focusing on that's huge. We've got some great partnership with Tennessee Theater. Typically we do this from there. I know you got married there.
I got married at the Tennessee Theater, and I love that partnership. What a great combination, especially with the history and the focus of both. I always call that the crown jewel of Knoxville, certainly.
I totally agree.
And what a great place to do the podcast. I'm sure you don't deal with gnats there,
no,
right?
There's no gnats.
Yeah, they're a great partner too.
Yeah.
If you just look at the
awesome.
diversity of their programming,
it's
from
great.
music to Broadway and stuff like that, it as a brand, it's very attractive for us to create a partnership with to your point, one of the most beautiful properties in the state of Tennessee, I believe. Certainly for Knoxville, I don't know if any other buildings are as impressive and as well maintained as it is. But yeah, it's a great location for us to showcase our brand. They're a wonderful partner. We couldn't be any more proud of the relationship we've been able to build with them already. We're just 6 months into it or so.
Yeah, it's been great.
But it has been fantastic.
Yeah.
It's exceeded all expectations I had for it. They're wonderful.
Yeah,
people
I think
to
it's
work with.
been. I think it's partnerships like that, and it's interesting. We keep saying partnerships because, and you can talk to anybody at the Tennessee Theater, Becky there, or Nikki, and even with One Knox, with Drew and Nadeem and those guys.
Yep.
We didn't go into this looking for sponsorships. We can go get sponsorships if we want to drop a dime wherever we want.
Yeah.
We're looking for partners that fit what we want, which is gather around diverse, shows or entertainment. So that's where we're really, I think over the next year, we'll focus energy is continuing those kind of partnerships like Tennessee Theater, like One Knox, Tennessee Whiskey Trail. They just did a fantastic job with the International Tennessee Whiskey Day and Tennessee Whiskey Week.
Yeah, I saw several different events on the calendar.
Yeah, it was fantastic. They've grown that. We had them on a podcast. We had Charity and leaders there and other distilleries. So those are some organizations that are along the same lines of thinking as far as involving the community and working together to give people a place. We want people to come here.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Well, and you love the product development too. You've had some limited editions. Will you look to create new products this coming year?
We will. One of the things that we've learned is that it's really nice to have a new product that launches in and around some other event that people are kind of excited about. So we could have launched a little bit sooner than we did, but we held the Tennessee Whiskey, our first Tennessee Whiskey-based product, until Tennessee Whiskey Week. So, officially it was that Sunday, but on Friday of when we were kind of counting down those last couple of days to when Prohibition was overturned in the state of Tennessee back in 1937, it was really kind of cool that we were able to launch our first product that kind of celebrates the heritage of the Lincoln County process and charcoal mellowing as it relates to how you make a Tennessee whiskey from a bourbon. Because they're very similar. They're first cousins, I call them. But but there's a distinct and unique difference for Tennessee whiskey, and we had held off of doing ours, and I'm so glad we were able to do that. But we did our first cast strength last fall for the Grains and Grits Festival, which is the big festival for East Tennessee that happens here in Townsend. So we have already started to talk about what would be cool that we could do, and it may not be something that we do forever, a long-term portfolio edition or anything, but what would be something that people would get excited about and just want to try, and that we would be proud to put out there and just kind of test the waters on. So yeah, I've got several ideas that I'm pursuing right now. I do.
Wheels are turning.
I have not settled on what it will be, but I know at least there's a few people inside the company that are like, you need to let me know what it's going to be because I got to get labels for that.
They need to know.
I can't do that in 2 weeks.
Well, I think it's interesting to you even are brewing beer now. A lot of whiskey bourbon companies, I think, might kind of not shy away, but say, oh no, we don't brew beer. But I think it's great that you offer that as well.
Absolutely. It's been great.
Yep.
The idea for the brew, in Tonson, we talked about the beer bourbon whiskey combo from the very beginning. That food, beer, bourbon. And we talked about it from the very beginning. And so having somebody on staff like Kevin Smith, who's an expert in the field, leader in the field, has been great for us. And we don't shy away. And props go to Corsair, who's been doing that. Hell, that's how they really started in Tennessee. They had a little tap room and a smaller distillery, and they were the guild helped open a lot of doors there for us to do what we're doing and for them to expand their business. So it's been great.
But of course, we had a little bit of inside information that we knew that, property was being purchased here with the design, the intent that they would design a world-class mountain biking trail system on it. And, it's been a while since I've been on a mountain bike, but I remember those days. And usually if you're really hot and tired and thirsty, a cold beer is mostly what you want. So we felt like it would have been a miss not to, have a brewery here when we were within walking distance of the bottom of the hill where they exit. So it was like, that just makes sense because you got to make a beer to make a whiskey. So the two are more tied together than people realize. So we just we were still in design phases here. So we just kind of stripped out a few pieces of equipment and dropped in a proper brew skid in its place. So five quality beers on tap in Townsend already that are locally made. So if it's important that people try the local flavor and want to find something that's actually made in the place, we've got it, and very proud of them. Kevin Smith, who's our brewer, does a fantastic job on them.
Yeah. And I'd love to see you kind of walk the tasting room floor. You really love engaging with customers, but also educating them about the blends, the variety.
Yep.
I don't know a lot about bourbon and whiskey. I thought we might do a little taste test here. Y'all could educate me, but then I had to drive home.
Well, what was interesting is I think maybe one of the people you saw me talking to earlier today, I met him when I was staying in the house here behind the distillery where we had torn it down and we were still under construction, but they had taken power underground beside us and cut across a field, and he likes to look for like Native American artifacts, like
arrowheads
and things like that, pottery, arrowheads and stuff like that. So he came up and knocked on the door and asked me if I would be okay if he just kind of dug around in the dirt over here beside the house. I said, knock yourself out. So I couldn't remember his name, but he came in with his partner today, and they've become huge fans. They come here every week and kind of have a business meeting, but they have lunch. And but that was the first time I'd had a chance to kind of tell them, what's next and the full scale of what we're doing here. But it was awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. Like I said, we're seeing more and more that people here in Townsend are embracing us being here, which is what I'd always hoped, that if they would give us a chance that we would do it right. And I'm proud of the effort that we've made here.
Have you had a chance to just kind of sit back a little bit and take it all in and really be proud of what you've accomplished?
We do. None of us really rest on the current success. We're looking at what the next success is, or how do we better where we're at. But yeah, it's been good. This, doing this stuff like this is fun. It's a lot of fun. I think we both enjoy doing it, and it kind of does take you away from some of the stressors of the everyday stuff. So, and
it helps you connect and educate and share that company story, which I think is so important. I'm just proud of both of you.
Well,
it's fun to see this come from the beginning as a conversation to brick and mortar and distribution and new products and Ascot Awards. It's all good.
It's awesome. We're doing good. I think we should.
I gotta say, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question here for a minute.
Here we go.
So, I met you 15 years ago.
15.
I had just been named Master Distiller Jack Daniels. I didn't know you at the time, but I was told that the TV station was coming down out of the Knoxville area. I'd meet you at the Cave Spring at a certain time. Met you. Gave probably one of my first interviews. It was in the first handful because you didn't waste any time coming down and getting the interview.
Sure.
And then we reconnect when the announcement is made that I'm coming here. And I was like, I think I remember her. And then you walked up and I'm like, I absolutely remembered you. So you got to interview me through a career change moment of my life and kind of explore that a little bit. So now it's my turn.
Oh boy, here we go.
Career change.
Yes,
for Beth.
You left Jack Daniels at 20? What year?
I was 19 and a half years. Okay. I was working on my 20th year. If I'd stayed till May, I would have made full 20 years with them. So yeah, I'm 30 years out of college. I was 10 with Procter & Gamble, 20 with Jack Daniels. So
it was my 20th anniversary at WBIR. Wow. That's why I asked. Last September celebrated 20 years. And I remember that I had created a franchise I love called Homegrown. And we featured Jack Daniels, and we drove over. It was really a great trip. Loved talking to you. I don't think I realized it was one of your first interviews, but it's just crazy how worlds collide and your lives are intertwined with people. But yeah, for me, I echo a lot of what you've said to me about your career. I love my job. I loved spotlighting the people and places of East Tennessee, the variety each day. Every day was different. I would interact with so many people and the content was different and the storytelling. But there was a part of me that, I'd done this for 20 years at Channel 10, 25 years in the industry, and just this nagging feeling, what's next? What's next? Are you going to finish your career at Channel 10, or is there something more you want to do? And I also was on a night-side schedule, so I didn't see my family a lot. I wasn't present, and we've got a rising freshman and senior in high school, and I just didn't want to miss anything else. So yeah, I stepped away 6 months ago, in fact, and I've just really tried to be intentional with my time. I'm a student. I love to continue learning, but I still want to use my talents. I still want to tell stories. I want to do work on air. I love the podcast format. Just public speaking, being a community advocate, all of those things were important to me. So yeah, it's about transitions, a new adventure. And with digital, there's so many more opportunities with streaming platforms, YouTube. So I feel like there's so many ways now to get content to the viewer, to the customer. So yeah, I'm just exploring a lot of different things and excited.
The first 6 months, what's your biggest surprise?
Oh, first 6 months. Just the swings. One moment you're on a high and you think, oh, this is great, and then you swing in the other direction. Oh gosh, what am I going to do? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to connect with? But for me, it's just pressing pause, stepping away from the news alerts, and just really trying to enjoy what's around me. And just really being intentional with my time. I really feel I've been intentional with conversations and just moments I've experienced. I got to take my mom and dad to see family in Georgia, and I was so thrilled I got to spend that time with them. And I also went back to where I started my career, one of my first TV stations. So that was kind of a fun full circle moment, and also gave a graduation speech.
Oh, nice.
That was a first for me, but it was in my hometown at the university, Tennessee Wesleyan University. So that was fun. So yeah, it's just I'm trying to embrace new opportunities. Before I left, Russell Biven, my former co-anchor, always said, "Get comfortable in the uncomfortable." That's what I try to do, and just I'm excited. Just the conversations, the people I've met, and just ready for new challenges.
Yeah, it's interesting because you've got the history with Jeff there, and then I think about the different things we've gone through, the fires, fires up here. We were on the phone quite a bit, but not only that, just again, like you said, the journey for me personally with distilling. Jeff may not know this. It was 11 years, about right at 11 years ago, whenever I went in and we had dinner. It was me and her and Seth at Tupelo Honey.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're going to do this distillery over here. And she's like, really? And they were like, really?
I just stayed at the Tupelo Honey in Asheville.
Did you? Yeah,
the
original. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat. I mean, you've got a history with both, and we didn't know each other at that time.
You can have fried chicken or fried chicken.
And that's it. Yeah.
I remember when Kris mentioned you the first time. Jeff was like, "Oh, I interviewed him. He's a great guy." We spent time at Jack Daniels.
Totally bamboozled her.
No,
she had no idea.
But no, it's
anybody
awesome
can act. 15 minutes
to see it all come together. And I know you guys spent a lot of time with each other, and you're still together and still working with forward on the company.
Got all kinds of time now, so you've got to come. We're going to be doing some 1-year celebrations here.
Perfect.
The next few days, Townsend will have some music and, big thing on music and some food and obviously great products. And then Thompson Station will do the same thing. Thompson Station comes up next month.
Okay.
As far as that. So we'll,
and you also, you have trivia and live music here, right? In addition to 1-year anniversaries.
That's a great point. We do. Yeah. Both locations have live music. We've been doing trivia here with It's Not Rocket Science guys, and they're great. It's really interesting because some nights this place will have 80 people, and you'll see teams, and it gets competitive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
people really take trivia very seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then we're going to be launching, hopefully in the fall, we're going to, our plan, I should say, is to get back to having some experiences with Jeff. I know it's not every day you get to spend time with, Master Distiller. Heck, he was the Master Distiller of the year for 2017 in the world. And that's, that's right here in Peaceful Side. So,
do you still get to bottle your own bourbon? If you come in, can you bottle it?
We need to work on that.
Okay.
little
Sorry.
device. Yeah. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Because
that's unique.
people do want to
'Cause you're
know.
all about
We're working on it.
experience,
We're
yeah.
trying to get it to where it works well.
Okay.
We did something kind of makeshift, and we're going to have to rethink it. But we've had probably 12, 15
Okay.
people who've done it, and,
Okay.
and we can make it work, but it
Yeah.
requires quite a bit of effort.
Yeah. Well,
it
you
it needs
you
to be
all
a
like
little
to
better.
personalize the experience. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
and I
absolutely.
appreciate that. So
Yeah. So, but look, I appreciate your time. I think it was kind of neat that we flipped the mic on
you did. I
Uh,
love it. Hey.
Yeah, and appreciate your time today.
Yeah.
That's been a good portion of the day today with us, talking and celebrating our.
It's
our,
been fun. You've got a
one-year
great team,
anniversary.
and I'm not surprised at all by the success of Company.
Well, we really appreciate that, and we hope everybody's enjoyed. This one's a little shorter than normal, but it's right on time, I guess, actually would be the way to do it. We always run over otherwise, but appreciate you and join us next month for Distilling Greatness. Thanks,
It's
Beth.
always a pleasure to be with you, Beth.
Oh,
Thank you
loved
for coming.
it. Thank you guys. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much. See you guys.